Hey everyone, welcome to what will be an introduction to what you should be looking at in terms of, or what kind of information you can gain from looking at a Pokemon card under magnification. We see here we got our little Rattata specimen. You might remember him from the E4 thread that I made with a different microscope, but similar in a lot of regards. Similar magnification, similar quality in terms of price range and optics. Now, you might be watching this and saying, hey, how can I do this at home when I can't afford a $10,000 microscope to do this? Well, I got the solution for you. Couldn't be more affordable and effective. Not so great for making YouTube videos, probably, but we'll certainly do the trick if you want to check the validity of the cards that you have at home. I got these on eBay from a Chinese seller. Probably, I think the set of them were like $3 shipped. They did take ages to get here, but you can see all the stuff that we're going to be looking at today with those using your eye rather than a camera. I've seen some people put them up to their camera on their phone, and I mean, if you play around with it enough, you can get a decent image, but more so just to be able to check things on your own. Make sure that your cards are real. Now, it's usually pretty obvious when cards are fake, and we'll get into a bunch of those. I have a large stack, so later on in this series, we will be looking at several different variations of fakes that happened over the years. Some obvious, some less obvious. So if that's something that interests you, then I suggest you subscribe, hit the like button, and tune in for those. I'll be releasing them over time. If you have any suggestions in terms of what you'd like to see under the microscope, we can certainly do that as well. So open to those. Let's get right into this. So what we're looking at for the most part in terms of fakes is the rosette patterns that you'll see here. These are these little clusters that you see on screen. If we zoom in, we can make that even more apparent. And then we might need to focus a little bit. So you see these little clusters here on screen. This is how the printing process works. This is known as CMYKK, offset printing. So your C being cyan, your M being magenta, Y being yellow, and then K is black twice. I don't know if that's K for nomenclature. I could have looked it up beforehand. Let me know as well in the comments if you know what the K is. Probably something Latin, maybe, for black. Offset printing. So there are a series of plates that apply these layers, and then when you mix the colors together, that are these tiny dots, you end up with other colors, producing the other colors that you need in order to give the illusion of, say, a green. Even though we're not using green dots, these colors will form that green for us. What else we got here? I guess it's important to note that there are certain features that you're going to be looking for. We'll take a look at all parts of the card here in our first overview. Excuse my cut off arm here, trying to give you as much real estate as possible. We will notice that our yellow border is always extremely solid. If it's not solid, that's a red flag right away that you have a fake card. Interesting points of the card to look at in terms of comparing your card to what might be a fake. It's always good to have a real card on hand to compare side by side, even with the naked eye, to a fake. You should be able to tell the difference, especially on the back. Almost always a fake card is going to look off on the back. It's going to be too glossy. It'll be the wrong colors of blue. And then under magnification, you'll see small details that will certainly give it away. Something to really look for here is your text is always going to be nice and sharp. If it's not, then you probably have a fake card on your hands. So you see our red HP here is nice and crisp on the edges. Our text for Ratata, again, very nice and crisp. It looks like we lost a little bit, and we have a little bit of a crinkle kind of effect going on with the text itself, but that's just wear and tear, the edge of the card. This is from base set, so it's coming up on, it's over 20 years old, coming up on 25 years old. Our numbers, all our lines here, this is the line in where you see your resistance and everything like that, should be nice and crisp. I know Gary sent me an example of a card that was scanned and then reprinted, and in that you could see some artifacts happening with those lines where they would have almost kind of a shadow, or they would look not quite straight, where the scan, if it's not lined up perfectly, kind of created that illusion. Big red flag that's fake. So here we go. We come through here. Again, all our text is nice and crisp. We have our border, solid yellow, printed in a different step, and then within that border, we have our rosette pattern all around. So I think that's the majority of it in the front. Now this would be super obvious if you have two of the same card, but even comparing a fake to a real card, even if it's not the identical card, is pretty easy to do. Any inkjet or toner style printer at home, or laserjet, I guess. All the different types of jet printers are not going to produce this rosette pattern. You'll see kind of a streaking coming across. Tavis showed some fakes that had a lot of that going on, and that would be something if someone printed a card at home and attached it. That's sort of what you would get. I find the biggest and best way to identify a card as real is to use the back. So you'll see here we have our solid blue. We see all kinds of little scratches. Any card under a microscope is certainly not a PSA 10, or not a black label. Maybe it would be the better analogy. There's no card that's perfect, but I mean at this magnification, you're going to see all kinds of little imperfections. I don't know if any of the grading companies actually put it under the microscope to designate what the grade is. I kind of doubt that. They probably just have a strong light. They might have like a loop or magnifying glass, but it'd be kind of overkill to go in this detail to see what sort of damage is on the card. So the back, you'll see the blue is a very distinct color, and usually a fake held straight up next to a real card, you'll be able to tell the difference right away. I find a good point of reference is right inside the P here. The dots within that are very consistent. Well, I guess it helps if we get it straight in the middle there and not hidden by the overlay microscope. So if you compare even just the dots within the P on a fake and real card, usually that's instantly going to discredit the fake. And you can kind of see we get the same rosette patterns going on in the back. We got our black here is a little bit solid, but then it goes out into that rosette. So even the Pokeball itself there's such a unique fingerprint on this that anything that's scanned or anything that's reprinted is going to be a pretty dead giveaway. Let's see, we might need a little bit more light here and a little bit more focus. Insanely hard to replicate this without having the actual plates, the original plates from the Pokemon cards in general. As far as I know, the back of the card back hasn't changed a whole lot over the years. They've remained very consistent. What else? So we got our TM. So all these little details, if you zoom in on them, it'd be pretty obvious. Fake versus real, what it would tell you. Now that we've looked at that, I guess we can get into looking at this smoochum here. We got smoochum hanging out with us in the background. Very cool seeing that close up. And this will give us an idea, or give you guys an idea of the different color combinations that create the colors on the card itself. So we have some green in here, but as we zoom in, we will see that it's not really green. That's just our cyan and yellow that's combining to give us that that nice green color on the bottom. It even kind of looks a little bit green when you zoom in because the colors are overlapping in that section. And then I guess another point of interest is the first edition stamp. A lot of people are concerned that, hey, can someone fake these? The card doesn't want to stay still. I think can someone fake a first edition stamp? Like, can't they just get an unlimited version of a card, or in the case of base set, a shadowless card, and stamp it? Well, no, not really, because first off, there's no way they're going to get it exactly the same size and position that it should be. And second off, the ink that's used will be a dead giveaway under magnification, especially with an expensive microscope. Let's see, as we zoom in here, we need a little bit more light. Gary had a fake stamp on that scan card that we're talking about, the Dragonair. Unfortunately, it's been returned to him, so I can't make a video of it, but there is a thread on E4 if you guys want to check it out, where we took a look at that. These stamps, and even with enough technology, you can go in, I can actually take measurements of the stamp itself to know exactly what size it should be, distance between certain points. All that stuff is going to be near impossible to replicate at that size. So without the proper equipment, I don't think anyone's going to be doing this. I think that pretty much covers it for now. I'll see you guys in future videos to take a look at fake cards. I have still some sun bleach cards from Silver Snorlax, so we'll probably turn that into a video of its own. I did take some pictures for him, but I think it'd be neat to actually look at them all underneath the microscope with the sort of a video or live view of sorts. Thanks guys for tuning in. Again, if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.